The Tesla team did an incredible job in 2023. We achieved record production and deliveries of over 1.8 million vehicles, in line with our official guidance. And in Q4, we were producing vehicles at an annualized run rate of almost 2 million cars a year. This is really a phenomenal achievement. Looking at just the Fremont factory alone, we made 560,000 cars. This is a record. In fact, it's the highest output automotive plant in North America. People are often surprised that the highest output car factory in North America is in the San Francisco Bay Area. It's a little counterintuitive, perhaps. And it's really had an incredibly positive impact on that entire area. What would have been a rundown strip mall is the highest productivity car plant in the Americas. Think about that. It was derelict when we got it, and now it's the most productive plant in this entire part of the world. And it's enriched the community in so many different ways. It's really a gem. So I'm super proud of the people that work there. Model Y became the best-selling vehicle globally, as predicted. The best-selling vehicle of any kind, not just electric vehicles, with over 1.2 million units delivered. The energy storage business delivered nearly 15 gigawatt hours of batteries in 2023, compared to 6.5 gigawatt hours the year before. So tremendous year-over-year growth, triple digits. And I think we'll continue to see very strong growth in storage, as predicted. I said for many years that the storage business would grow much faster than the car business, and it is doing that. Free cash flow remains strong at $4.4 billion in 2023, in spite of record spending on future projects. So we had record CapEx expenses as well as record R&D. This brings us to 2024. There's a lot to look forward to in 2024. Tesla is currently between two major growth waves. We're focused on making sure that our next growth wave, driven by next-gen vehicle, energy storage, full self-driving, and other projects, is executed as well as possible. For full self-driving, we've released version 12, which is a complete architectural rewrite compared to prior versions. This is end-to-end artificial intelligence. So another bitnets, basically photons in and controls out. And it really is quite a profound difference. This is currently just with employees and a few customers, but we will be rolling out to all customers in the US who request full self-driving in the weeks to come. That's over 400,000 vehicles in North America. So this is the first time AI is being used not just for object perception, but for path planning and vehicle controls. We replaced 330,000 lines of C code with neural nets. It's really quite remarkable. So as a side note, I think Tesla is probably the most efficient company in the world for AI inference. Out of necessity, we've actually had to be extremely good at getting the most out of hardware, because hardware 3 at this point is several years old. So I think we're quite far ahead of any other company in the world in terms of AI inference efficiency, which is going to be a very important metric in the future in many arenas. So the new Model 3 is now available globally. So we did an updated Model 3. While the car looks similar, a lot of work has gone into the vehicle to make it better in every way. It is significantly quieter, more refined, better equipped, has longer range, and many other improvements. And I recommend taking it for a test drive. If you have not driven a Model 3 in a long time, I should really try the new one. Steady improvements. And we're very far along on our next generation low-cost vehicle. This is an earnings call, not a product announcement. So there'll no doubt be many questions that try to ask us about new products coming, but we reserve product announcements for product announcements, not earnings calls. So, but we're very excited about this, and this is really going to be profound, not just in its design of the vehicle itself, but in the design of the manufacturing system. This is a revolutionary manufacturing system, significant, far more advanced than any other automotive manufacturing system in the world, like by a significant margin. Several years ago, I said perhaps the most important competitive characteristic of Tesla in the future will be manufacturing technology, and you will really see that come to bear with our next-gen vehicle. The first manufacturing location for this will be at our Gigafactory and headquarters in Austin, Texas, and then we'll follow that up with other locations around the world. Probably the factory we'll build in Mexico will be second, and then we'll be looking to identify a third location, perhaps by the end of this year or early next, outside of North America. In conclusion, we had a great year with record production, record deliveries, and a strong free cash flow in spite of a very high interest rate environment. And we are focused on exciting new projects that will, I think, ultimately, if we execute on all these things, and it is very hard to do all these things, not a sure thing, but I do see a path where Tesla could one day be the most valuable company in the world. I do want to emphasize that is not an easy path, and a very difficult one, but it is now in the set of possible outcomes. And previously, I would not have thought it isn't a set of possible outcomes. So, and thank you again to all of our investors, our employees, and our suppliers for a strong year. And looking forward to a great 2024 and years to come.
Given that you moved the start of the next generation compact vehicle production to Austin, has the timeline improved?
I would certainly say things they should be taken with a grain of salt, since I'm often optimistic. But I don't want to blow your minds, but I'm often optimistic regarding time. But our current schedule says that we will start production towards the end of 2025, so sometime in the second half. That's just what our current schedule says. That there's a lot of new technology, like a tremendous amount of new revolutionary manufacturing technology here. The reason I wanted to put this new revolutionary manufacturing line at Texas was because we really need the engineers to be living on the line. This is not sort of a off-the-shelf, just works type of thing. And it's just a lot easier for Tesla engineering to live on the line if it's in Austin versus elsewhere. So but we are currently expecting to start production second half of next year. That will be a challenging production ramp. Like I can emphasize, we'll be sleeping on the line practically. In fact, not practically, we will be. But I am confident that once it is going, it will be head and shoulders above any other manufacturing technology that exists anywhere in the world. It's next level. So it's always difficult to predict what that S-curve of manufacturing looks like. So it always starts off real slow and then it grows exponentially. So and predicting that intermediate S-curve is difficult. But so I don't know. It's hard to say what the unit volume would be next year. We're not going to make any predictions on that front, but it does seem quite likely that we will start production next year. There are entire companies where all they do is make battery cells. That's like all they do.
Indeed.
We do a lot of other things, and we've got a lot of breakthrough technologies that take time to figure out with 46. It's not just that it's a 46 millimeter diameter by 80 millimeter coil cell. That's just the dimensions. There's a tremendous amount of new technology in the cell itself.
And manufacturing technology.
Yes, exactly. But we also do want to emphasize that we also expect to ramp orders from our suppliers.
Yep.
So this is not about replacing our suppliers, it's about supplementing our suppliers.
Yes.
So we are very appreciative of our suppliers. Panasonic obviously is our longest supplier. They're an amazing company. I see a path to creating artificial intelligence and robotics juggernaut of truly immense capability and power. And my concern would be, I don't want to control it, but if I have so little influence over the company at that stage that I could sort of be voted out by some sort of random shareholder advisory firm. We've had a lot of challenges with institutional shareholder services, ISS, I call them ISIS, and Glass Lewis, which there's a lot of activists that basically infiltrate those organizations and have strange ideas about what should be done. So I want to have enough to be influential. Like if we could do a dual class stock, that would be ideal. I'm not looking for additional economics. I just want to be an effective steward of very powerful technology. And the reason I just sort of roughly picked approximately 25% was that's not so much that I can control the company, even if I go bonkers. And if I'm like mad, then they can throw me out. But it's enough that I have a strong influence. That's what I'm aiming for, is a strong influence, but not control. There's some way to achieve that would be great. If the interest rates come down quickly, I think margins will be good. And if they don't come down quickly, they won't be that good. It's always important to remember that the vast majority of people buying a car is about the monthly payment. It's not that people don't want. We have tons of, we have lots of people who want to buy our car, but simply cannot afford it. And that as interest rates drop and that monthly payment drops, then they're able to afford it and they buy the car. It's pretty straightforward. And there are no tricks around to get around this. It's important to emphasize that, Model 3 production was 3 years of hell before. Some of the worst years of my life, frankly. Still have mental scar tissue from those 3 years, as do many. But then Model Y was somewhat of a variant on Model 3, so a much easier situation. And then we were able to actually do slightly improved versions of, in some cases, significantly improved versions of the Model Y production line in Shanghai and Berlin. And that's the right. I think the sensible way to go about things is kind of figure out the core technology of the manufacturing line and then replicate it with improvements throughout the world. I really think lots of car companies should be asking for FSD licenses, but we've had some tentative conversations, but I think they don't believe it's real quite yet. I think that will become obvious probably this year. And I do want to emphasize that if I were with another car company, I would definitely be calling Tesla and asking to license Tesla full self-driving technology. It's definitely the smart move. Optimus obviously is a very new product, an extremely revolutionary product, and something that I think has the potential to far exceed the value of everything else that Tesla combined. But when you think of an economy as productivity per capita times capita, but what if there's no limit to capital? There's no limit to the economy. And the technologies the AI technologies we developed for the car translate quite well to a humanoid robot. because the car is just a robot on four wheels. Tesla is arguably already the biggest robot maker in the world. It's just a four-wheeled robot. So Optimus is a robot with a humanoid robot with arms and legs. It's by far the most sophisticated humanoid robot that's being developed anywhere in the world. I think we've got a good chance of shipping some number of Optimus units next year. But like I said, this is a brand new product, a lot of uncertainty. When there's a lot of uncertainty and you're in uncharted territory, it's obviously impossible to make a precise prediction. But we will be updating the public with progress on Optimus every few months. And you can see that it's advancing very quickly. I was just in the Optimus lab, actually, until late last night. There's something. I finally left the Optimus lab. The team's doing amazing work. That's obviously a case where we want to make sure that Optimus is safe, especially at scale, and that it should be impossible for any centralized control to upload malware to a humanoid robot. So we're going to want to build in localized shutoff that cannot be updated from a central server. That's the case where we really have to give extreme thought to safety. But like I said, I do think it has the potential to be the most valuable product of any kind ever, by far. You can already do some useful things, but like a smart robot that's capable of doing generalized tasks is what it will be. And in terms of doing moderately specialized tasks, well, it can already do that, and it'll just get better through the course of the year. As we improve the technology in the car, we improve the technology in Optimus at the same time. It runs the same AI inference computer that's on the car, same training technology. I mean, we're really building the future. I mean, the Optimus lab looks like the set of Westworld. Admittedly, that was not a super utopian situation.
Not the best reference.
Yeah. The creators of Westworld, Jonah Nolan and Lisa Joy Nolan, old friends of mine actually, and invited them to come see the lab. I think they'll come see it hopefully soon. It's pretty wild, especially the sort of subsystem test stands where you've just got like one leg on a test stand doing repetitive exercises and one arm on a test stand. It's pretty wild. Yeah. It's important to emphasize that this is very much a production constrained situation, not a demand constrained situation. And we could dramatically raise the price, but that doesn't feel right to us to sort of gouge people for early delivery. So, but really the demand is off the hook. As long as the price is affordable, I mean, I see us ultimately delivering on the order of something like 250,000 Cybertrucks a year in North America, but maybe more, but give or take roughly on that time frame. And it sure is a head turner.
Definitely is.
Yeah.
Anywhere you go, people look at you.
Yeah.
They give you thumbs up.
Yeah. It's like finally the future looks like the future. It just for the other trucks on the road there, and there's some very good trucks on the road, but if you were to switch out the brand name, you wouldn't hardly know which company made them, but you definitely would know the Cybertruck. It's worth noting that if you look at, say, the average selling price of the other top-selling vehicles in the world, they are much lower priced than a Model Y. Yeah. So, like a Toyota RAV4, Corolla, Honda Civic, that kind of thing, they're much lower priced than ours. So people are really stretching their wallets to be able to afford a Tesla. It's quite a difficult thing for them to do, and remarkable that it's the best-selling car in unit volume, despite being much more expensive than other high-volume cars. We have found that when we do these AI days, some of our competitors literally look at what we do on a frame-by-frame basis.
They do.
And then we find these things being copied.
Same thing with Battery Day.
Same thing with Battery Day. So we have to be a little cautious about revealing the exact recipe of the secret sauce. But I think some kind of update would be good to do. I'll talk it over with the team, and I think we might do something later this year. Our main goal with these AI Day things is recruiting. So
yes,
and to sort of change the perception of Tesla as people think of Tesla as a car company when they should be thinking of Tesla as an AI robotics company. Observation is generally that the Chinese car companies are the most competitive car companies in the world. So I think they will have significant success outside of China, depending on what kind of tariffs or trade barriers are established. Frankly, I think if there are not trade barriers established, they will pretty much demolish most other car companies in the world. So they're extremely good. If we don't see an obvious opportunity to partner, certainly we're happy to accept on the supercharger front. We're obviously happy to give any electric car company access to our supercharger network. We're also happy to license full self-driving, perhaps license other technologies, and anything that could be helpful in advancing the sustainable energy revolution. Man, it's so high time that the auto industry moved from the random number of 12 to 48.
Random number of 48.
Yeah, well, it's much less random.
Slightly less random based on human injury, but
I mean, dramatically reduces the amount of copper you need in the vehicle, and moving to a sort of higher bandwidth communications. It's sort of Ethernet level communications versus CAN bus, which is pretty slow. So it's really just bringing cars to,
The 21st century.
yeah, pretty much.
So like certainly like
It's not exactly, it's like normal for a laptop. There's a lot of specialized machines that make the machine for our next gen vehicle. So these are not machines you can just order from anyone. They actually, you have to design a machine that has never existed to build a car in a way that has never existed.
Yeah, so you don't just have like a design validation phase, but you have an equipment design validation phase as well.
It does make it very hard to copy us because you have to copy the machine that makes the machine that makes the machine.
talk about tiers.
Yeah, it's exactly manufacturing exception. So I do think it's quite a powerful, sustainable advantage because there just is no place to go to order the machines. The AI hardware question that is a deep one. So we're obviously hedging our bets here with significant orders of NVIDIA GPUs. It's the wrong word. There really needs to be. You can't like produce graphics. So that's what. It's not a graphic processing unit, neural net processing unit, or something like that. It is a funny word, vestigial. So, and a lot of our progress in self-driving is training limited. Something that's important with training, it's much like a human. The more effort you put into training, the less effort you need in inference. So just like a person, if you train in a subject, really sort of classic 10,000 hours, the less mental effort it takes to do something. You remember when you first started to drive, how much of your mental capacity it took to drive. You have to be focused completely on driving. And after you've been driving for many years, it only takes a little bit of your mind to drive. You can think about other things and still drive safely. So the more training you do, the more efficient it is at the inference level. So we do need a lot of training. And we're pursuing the dual path of NVIDIA and Dojo. But I would think of Dojo as a long shot. It's a long shot worth taking because the payoff is potentially very high, but it's not something that is a high probability. It's not like a sure thing at all. It's a high risk, high payoff program. Dojo is working and it is doing training jobs. So, and we're scaling it up. And we have plans for Dojo 1.5, Dojo 2, Dojo 3, and whatnot. So I think it's got potential. I can't emphasize enough. High risk, high payoff. So I think it still makes sense given even if it's a low probability of success with a very high. Yeah, I think anyway. I'm belaboring the subject. It's a very interesting program. It has the potential for something special. There's also our inference hardware in the car. So we're now on what's called hardware 4, but it's actually version 2 of the Tesla designed AI inference chip. And we're about to complete design of, the terminology is a bit confusing, about to complete design of hardware 5, which is actually version 3 of the Tesla design chip, because the version 1 was Mobileye, version 2 was NVIDIA, and then version 3 was Tesla. So, and we're making gigantic improvements from hardware 3 to 4 to 5. I mean, there's a potentially interesting play where when cars are not in use in the future, that the in-car computer can do generalized AI tasks, can run a sort of GPT-4 or 3 or something like that. If we've got tens of millions of vehicles out there, even in a robotaxi scenario, when they're in heavy use, maybe they're used 50 out of 168 hours. That still leaves well over 100 hours time available of compute hours. It's possible with the right architectural decisions that Tesla may in the future have more compute than everyone else combined. It boggles my mind to think that if we make a 1% improvement in cost, that's $1 billion.
Yeah.
So it's like, on average, if we reduce the cost by 1 penny, $1 billion. What? And we started off not that long ago that we're only making like 10 cars a week. And yeah, so where does it lead ultimately? With good execution, like I said, it's not a slam dunk, but if we execute very well, I think Tesla could be the most valuable company in the world.
Wenn du mal was Verrücktes machen möchtest, werde Abonnent meines Kanals. Über ein Like freue ich mich gleich doppelt. Für weitere Insights folgt mir gerne auf x.com. Hier poste ich manchmal lustige, manchmal wissenswerte und manchmal sogar politische Dinge. Ich würde mich freuen, dich dort zu sehen. Falls du meine Arbeit unterstützen möchtest, schau doch mal in meinem Shop vorbei. Link in der Beschreibung. Da findet sich für jeden etwas. Oder werde Kanalmitglied, direkt auf YouTube. Den Button dazu findest du unter jedem Video. Meine weiteren Videos findest du in der Playlist, die in der Infocard verlinkt ist. Ich wünsche dir einen wundervollen Tag und hoffe dich bei einem meiner anderen Videos wiederzusehen.